Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We're usually not here on Thursdays, but Coach Spurrier couldn't be here Monday because of travel, and he's going to be here today, and we can't wait to see him and talk to him. Certainly looking forward to that. I assume Coach Spurrier will also be here Monday, so you'll get a double dose of Steve. Nothing wrong with that, as we know. I did... I still don't know who our other guests are going to be. Well, you know how we're going to go. We keep giving you great guests. We do the best we can. We're heading into a dry season, as we know, but we're here for you. We're going to keep doing the show, and we'll give you some fun guests. We'll have some fun with it. We'll go back and take some special games and talk about those, and bring on a couple of guests from that during the summer, because you know it gets. I mean, look, when we get to media days, even though it's not really the unofficial start of college football. To me, that's the dumbest thing that's ever been said. You get 3 weeks till practice. So, but that gives you something to talk about. But other than that, it's pretty dry. Of course, the Olympics will be part of it as well. But we'll have plenty to talk about. We'll have plenty of guests, and we're going to keep coming at you with a great show. We are looking for advertisers. I know it's bleak this time of year, but man, you won't believe the deals that I can give you if you are willing to come on for the summer at a totally reduced rate. I'll give you a reduced rate again in the fall when you really want to be on, as everybody knows, because that's college football season. All right, let's get to our Process Service of Gainesville starting five, brought to you by Scott Hart and the Process Service of Gainesville. We appreciate them. One of our great sponsors, as is Titan MRI, as is Meldon Law. So we always wanted to make sure we gave them their props. The starting five brought to you by Process Service of Gainesville. Number one was, I think the biggest story of the week was the schedule coming out in terms of Florida playing Miami at 3:30. And then, of course, they announced A&M at 3:30 as well. Georgia at 3:30. That's locked into stone. It's just not locked into Jacksonville anymore. I don't know when we're going to find out more about that. Anyway, I don't want to get into that right now, but I do want to talk about the fact that they're getting the first big college football Saturday, this new ESPN deal. 3:30 is their prime time game. And Florida's getting it. I think that says a lot. I think that says, hey, you're still a brand now. Don't mess it up. You know, you're a brand. You're still the brand. Your brand has a little bit of dust on it. It's got a little bit of, when you hit a golf ball and you hit it, and I did this the other day, where you hit a big cut around the 11th hole there at Ironwood, and you say, hit the cart path, and you hit the cart path, and it bounces a million miles in the air, and it hits it again, and next thing you know, you got like 8 yards to the green, but your ball's all scuffed up. That's what the SEC is right now. They are scuffed up a little bit. They've got a little bit of damage on them in those terms, but we'll see how it all goes with that going forward. When I say SEC, I mean Florida in terms of the SEC. That's where Florida is. They're scuffed up, but they're still a brand. You can still play that ball, and you still like playing that ball sometimes, and maybe you're superstitious and you say, let's stick with it. Let's stick with that ball. Or maybe you throw it in the woods, but that doesn't happen, okay? So anyway, it was interesting news. We'll talk to Robbie a little bit later. Robbie will be on just a little bit later, and I'll talk to him about that, as far as that coming out this week. 3:30 games. That's hard to say really quickly. Anyway, number two on our Process Service of Gainesville starting five, softball. Starts Friday. I get a little nervous this time of year only because I really care about a lot of people, Tim Walton being one of them, and I love this team. I've enjoyed watching them, but you never know what's going to happen. I think maybe I'm a little scarred from that 1 year when Florida got knocked out in 3 games at home in the regional, not super regional, regional, and they kicked all those players off the team. I still have never gotten the full story. I've gotten pieces of the story, of what happened that day. But I just remember, I think it was on Twitter, I go, oh, Florida just kicked 3 of their best players off? What? On the day of the regional? Anyway, didn't go well for Florida. But anytime you're playing teams from the state, they've got Florida Gulf Coast, of course. Anytime you're playing teams from the state, it's tough, man. This is their World Series, man. They are in the College World Series right now, the Women's College World Series. They're playing Florida at Florida. They win that game, let me tell you what, that you will think they have won the College World Series. So you got to go to play these games. You got to get the job done. A lot of these players are freshmen, so it's a new experience. You also have Skylar Walsh. You also have Falby. You also have Erickson, who's in the middle of it at Oklahoma. So you've got all these great players, and you should be fine. But we'll see how that goes, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they play this week. I'm thinking about going out there Saturday, thinking about it. All right, let's get to number 3, which is I do want to give a shout-out to my man J.C. Deacon. Now, I will tell you this bluntly. J.C. Deacon is one of my favorite people in the world, okay? And the weird thing is he succeeded what may be my favorite person in the world, which is Buddy Alexander, who I love to death and went to his house for dinner, and we were friends, and we were music friends, and we were and he helped our golf tournament so much. JC walked in, we become really good friends, and I think the Chuck Hazard connection helps here, and he's helped our tournament so much. But that's why I root for him so hard, and what they did this week was tremendous. The ticket is punched now. They are going to the NCAA final round of, I guess it's regionals and then the finals is the way you would. It's always hard to figure out how you. It doesn't matter what they want to call it. It's what do you want to call it that makes you understand it. All right, they won. They finished third in the regionals. Top 5 made it. Now they go to the finals, and we'll see how they do there. Look, I've said this a million times. This is not last year's team, but they're playing really well. And congrats to them. I'm so happy for them. Nobody roots harder for that golf team than I did. They finished third in West Lafayette, which is where Purdue is, and I think they're out in Arizona for the finals. I think. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Dooley quoted. Pat Dooley said, of course, today that the NCAA tournament was in the West Coast. We know that's not true, but anyway. All right, so that was number 3 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5. Number 4, baseball at Georgia. A lot of you were listening to this on Thursday. You already know what happened on Thursday. I mean, you're listening to it on Friday. You know what happened on Thursday. You're listening on Saturday. You know what happened Thursday and Friday. But look, I like to call it fish or cut bait because I guess that's the best way to – you can't use the poop or get off the pot. Can you say that on a podcast? Poop or get off the pot? It's time. Look, this is it, guys. If you don't get it done this weekend – And look, it's going to be hard. You need to win 2 out of 3 in Athens. It's going to be hard. They're really good. It's going to be an interesting baseball because they've got this great hitter in Condon who is, leading the nation in home runs. It's going to be, and this is going to be part of our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick later, the last possibly the last time Jack Caglione pitches in a Gator uniform. Because think about it, if they go and go 1-out in the SEC tournament, they're done. Season's over. That's it. You got to win 2 out of 3, and that puts you in where you're okay. You're going to get into the tournament. Win 2 out of 3. Now that's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. You've had a hard time winning 2 out of 3 at home against teams, about the same level. But they've got to figure out a way to do it. That's all there is to it. They got to do it. This is time to show your mettle, to show that you do actually possess a clutch gene. I have accused you of not having that as a team. Certainly, number 14 has it. He's got a lot of clutch genes. In fact, if he could distribute them, I think he could do that. That would be great. Throw one this way, throw one that way. But hopefully he can will them to somehow win the games that they need to win up there, and hopefully nobody runs into each. It's like the running into each other in the outfield has now become the new. We had 13 guys on the field, or we had 2 guys on the field with the same number. In football, that's what it is now. Like I'll probably overuse it. Shoe throwing. Maybe I can do a thing before I retire from Gators Wire on the 12 dumbest things I've ever seen. Running into each other would be right up there. Anyway, all right, let us get to the final thing on. I did want to mention this too, baseball-wise. Congratulations to Buchholz. I'm close to that team only through Jeff Cardozo, whose son is a big player on that team, as is Paul Gardner's son, JJ. Both really good players, really talented guys. They're in the Final Four for the first time. I wanted to send congratulations out to them. Let's get to number 5 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5. PGA Tournament is in Valhalla. Schauffele's off to a great start. I'm not going to bore you with details on it because, look, guys, I mean, you can go. You'll have watched it by the time this is ready to be aired. You'll have watched the first round. I just wanted to say about that course. I love that course. I played it once. I was very lucky. I got on there with Rusty Hampton, who was at the Clarion Ledger, and he was very good at getting us on golf courses. So we played there, and it was unbelievable course, and I just loved it. And you see all those, like that one hole that's kind of an island hole, but not quite, but it's still an island hole. It's a great course. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It is just part of what is a very, very interesting weekend. This may be our last great weekend for a while, to be honest with you. We got a major. We got Florida baseball with its life on the line. We got Florida in the softball regionals. We got the NBA and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I mean, we got all these game 6s coming up, and it could be game 7s over the weekend. A lot of stuff going on. So that'll be a lot of fun to talk about coming back. All right. That is going to do it for our process service of Gainesville starting 5. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier. We'll talk about Norm Carlson and his passing away. Of course, we'll get to baseball. We'll talk a little golf. All that and more here on the I almost said the tailgate, but on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And Meldon Law also brings you every Monday, usually Coach Spurrier. He had travel problems, so he is here, though, on Thursday, and we appreciate him coming in. Coach, you were out to see Dallas again?
Yeah, I watched the Arlington Renegades.
Yeah.
Bobby Stoops coaches that team in the UFL, and my son Scott is his special team coordinator. So they had a big win. They beat the Memphis Showboats. And Bobby Stoops got his 200th win of all time. So
Is that right?
we were down there in the locker room, his wife and son and a whole bunch of people. They hit him with the Gatorade bucket and all that. And but they've been struggling this year. That was their first win.
Yeah, I know.
And Bobby said, I didn't know if I was going to get that number 200 or not. But, yeah, they played real well. They won like 47-23. And hopefully they can put a win streak together here at the end of the season.
Now, he was only with you 3 years, but, I mean, did you see something in him that you knew he was going to be a head coach? A really good head coach?
Well, I knew you'd probably have a lot of opportunities, which he did after the third year. Yeah, Oklahoma came and hired him. So that was a very good break. I remember when I brought him down here from Kansas State, at one point he told his wife, he said, we got a pretty good job here at Kansas State and blah, blah, blah. She said, Bobby, you're crazy if you don't take that job in Florida. She had to. So after he got down here, he said, yeah, you're right. I need to take this job here. But, yeah, it was right after we got clobbered by Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
So we sort of toughened up our defense. But, I mean, that 95 defense was very good. We just got clobbered that day.
Yeah.
We had a really bad day, and they ran for 501 yards on us. Whew.
Well, they broke guys out of prison to play in that game. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I do want to talk to you because it happened, I know, Friday, but the passing of Norm Carlson, I know, hit you hard.
Yep.
I said, I think Steve's two best friends were Alan Trammell and Norm Carlson. They're both gone. So I know it's a tough time for you.
Yeah, and Bill Carr before
Yes,
that,
that's right.
2 or 3 weeks. But, yeah, Norm, I talked to him about 2 weeks earlier, and, yeah, we're going to call you up and come see you. And, gosh, a week or so later, he just, I think, laid down on the couch and was gone. But mentally, he was sharp right up to the end with Alan Trammell. You could tell he's probably going to be gone in a couple of weeks, they said. So, but Norm had a wonderful life. Gosh, he's about 90 or 91, and he is all Gator now. He went to school here and sports information when I was a player and when I was a coach. So we spent a lot of times together. One of our favorite times, if people read the write-up, before the first season of 90, he came by and said, you want to play in the SEC Media Scramble Golf Tournament? We'll go up a day early before the SEC Media. I said, well, sure. Are you playing? He said, yeah, well, I'll play on your team. And we played with Julie Strauss, the Golden Flake lady, and her boss. So that was our foursome. And we won the dang thing. We were like 14 under or something. So he had bragging rights on all the media boys, as we used to call them, sports information guys, the media boys. So we would always have a toast on that championship. And then, of course, later, the next day or so, I'd see Pat Dye, Johnny Majors, and all those guys. And I said, how come you guys didn't play in the golf tournament? Steve, man, this is working time now. You can't be playing golf. This is football season. I said, I didn't know that. I never learned you're supposed to tell everybody how hard you work.
Yeah.
I thought you were supposed to tell them how many games you think you can win.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
go from there.
Yeah, I actually won that thing one year.
Did you?
A lot of years later, I was on a team that won it. Yeah, that was a fun tournament always to play. Norm was. I was trying to think. I can't recall Norm ever cursing in my life. I mean, you knew him better than I did, but I can never recall him saying a curse word in my life.
No, I don't think so. In golf, he was a good putter.
Yep.
He could hit a decent shot now and then, but he was a good guy to have on your scramble team because of his putting ability. But, no, he never did get too upset. And one of the favorite things I did here in 97 or 8, after the spring game, we had the Norm Carlson Appreciation Dinner. You were there.
I was there,
That's
yeah.
where you met your wife, wasn't it?
No, that was a different one.
That was a different one.
It was a different party that you had.
Well, we were at the stadium there, and I think he thought we were going to give him a little plaque. And I gave he and Sylvia a check for $50,000. I called 20, 25, 30 good boosters, and just said I need either $2,000 or $1,000, and we're going to pay off Norm's $50,000 mortgage, his condo at the beach. So, man, we raised that in 3 days, I think. Norm was so well liked and respected. He was an easy guy to raise money for, put it that way.
You had NIL before there was NIL?
That was NIL for sports information director. Yeah.
Well, we certainly are going to miss Norm, and he just the nicest guy. He hired me in sports information. He used to hit he and my dad would hit the opening drive on the golf tournament.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were both here, but I'm gonna miss him a lot, obviously. But look, we're all living in shells. Eventually, they're all gonna wither away. But we'll see how everything goes from there. Let's talk a little sports. Baseball and softball, big weekends coming up. Baseball needs to win 2 out of 3. Softball hosting a regional. Ought to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, congratulations to Coach Walton, the job he's done this year. I saw we were preseason picked 8th
I know, that's right.
in SEC. We won the tournament. Did we win the regular season? Also?
Second in the regular season. Yeah.
Okay, so won the tournament, second regular season. So we've got a heck of a good year going, and hopefully can keep it up.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with baseball. I mean, I was talking earlier about how Jack Caglione that Saturday could be the last game he ever pitches for Florida because he won't be the starting pitcher in the first game in Birmingham, or in Hoover. So this could be the last game he pitches, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I tell you what, that guy is just an amazing player, and the accomplishments. I mean, to be able to break the record for homers and come close to it again, and then to be 5-0 as a starter. I mean, it's hard to do both those things at this level. I mean, you're in the best conference in America.
Yeah, when he goes to the big leagues, which he, in all rights, will, would he be maybe a pitcher and that designated hitter? Is that what?
Well, I don't know. I think he creates such bat speed that they may just say you're a hitter. If it doesn't work out, you may want to try pitching. But he's going to have to kind of stick with one or the other, I think. You don't see many guys do both in the major leagues. They just want to focus on it. And I would think hitter because I've never seen a guy create back speed. I mean, he hit a ground ball the other night. The second baseman, olayed it because he was afraid of it.
It was going so hard.
It was coming at him so hard. But we'll see how that goes. What about the PGA this weekend? You got anybody you like? I mean, you can't say Schauffele now because we know he's got a big lead right now.
He's already 9 under with one hole to play today, so he's the favorite right now. But Scotty Scheffler hadn't teed off yet. He's liable to shoot 5 or 6, and it's 72 holes, so anything can happen. Tiger was even par when I left the house.
Yeah, I think that's what he is. Yeah.
So he's hanging in there.
Well, he's become a real sweater, almost like
Shaq.
Shaq, remember Shaq would be at the foul line and it'd just be pouring into his eyes, and I go, no wonder he can't make a free throw. I think Tiger's become that guy now too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever played Valhalla?
No, I haven't. I have not.
I played it once. I played it with Rusty Hampton. I don't know if you knew him from the Clarion Ledger out in Jackson. I played there once, but it's a beautiful course.
Yeah. When they keep coming back to those courses for majors, they're some of the best in the country. Yeah.
They are some of the best. All right, Coach, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, that's about it, I think. I tell you what was interesting yesterday or the day before. I'm flipping around the ESPN channels, and they had the national championship of bowling on. And Weber University, wherever Weber is, somewhere in the Midwest, they were going against another team, and they went to the 5th set or match, whatever, and it was nip and tuck. And one guy had an open frame, and I felt so sorry for him. I mean, he was almost crying back there. And then the other side won it. But you talk about a bunch of guys going at it. I mean, it was life or death, whoever won that thing. And, man, Weber University, they were a happy bunch of guys. So,
yeah, I wonder if Florida has a club team. They have a club team for everything. They have a club hockey team and everything.
Well, Vanderbilt's
won, always good,
the women's bowling. Of course, SEC doesn't have bowling. I don't know what conference
don't have lacrosse either, yeah.
So anyway, it was fun to watch that.
That is actually lacrosse is playing right now as we speak with a chance to go to the Final Four. So Mandy O'Leary doing a great job with that team too.
Certainly.
And like you were mentioning earlier, Tim Walton. I mean, the job he's done to rebuild that program from where they struggled last year and get it right back on top. So.
And let's hope we pick up some good players in the portal. It's coming right now, I guess, and so forth.
Well, just got Cormani McLean, who
he did commit to us.
He did.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
He's a guy who, of course, broke Florida's hearts before. But I mean, I always tell people
He made it
that's
come back.
for now. It's not
Wait a year.
forever.
Yeah, wait a year. We might get him next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that a lot of these young guys will try to stick where they're at. I heard Kirby Smart talking the other day, and what they're doing at Georgia, they have a way of convincing, if you don't play your first couple of years, that doesn't mean you're a bad player. That
Right.
doesn't mean you need to transfer. He said you'll probably play your third and your fourth year and maybe go on to the next level and still, make some money like all the other guys are. But so he has a way of keeping them there when they're, not playing a lot. And that's what coaches have to do nowadays.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I just did a thing for Gators Wire on the 12 reasons players go to college now, and it's one is NIL. That's number one, and it's not even close. And academics are like down there at 9 or something like that. You remember, like a Max Starks came to Florida because of the academics. That's the biggest reason he came here. You don't see many guys doing that anymore.
No, they don't. And they're going to do a study here pretty soon on what happens to all these players 10 years down the road. We used to always try to tell our guys now, hey, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, you're still going to be alive. You know that, don't you? Well, what college are you going to pull for? Hopefully, you'll have a home here at the University of Florida. And you always be welcome to come back to the Swamp, come back and see the team, that has followed you these years. And we do have a lot of guys come back. So we're trying to do more and more for former players. We need to do a little bit more than we're doing right now.
I think one of our callers on the radio the other day was saying that the letter jackets for some of these guys are going to have, it's going to look like NASCAR. They're going to have so many different insignias on it. Iowa, or, Auburn. It's just, it is what it is, though.
That's right. Everybody has the same problem, so let's have a go at it. And, here's what I used to always say, Pat, when I coached at Duke and at first at South Carolina. My buddies say, you can't win at Duke. Nobody wins at Duke. Can't win at South Carolina. Look at their record. And I said, listen, we get 11 guys on the field, and they only get 11. So if we can train our guys to play better than them, we got a chance to win. So it's always going to be 11 on 11.
It's funny because that you say that because I remember when Calipari got the job at Kentucky, and he was starting to recruit, and I was telling Mike Hill, who now is, of course, at Charlotte, I said, man, I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, he's going to get all the good players. He goes, you can only play 5 at a time, so we're going to have 5 out there, too. Sure enough, I think Florida beat them 8 in a row at one point.
Well, it's still a game of attitude and effort and scheming, play calling. One of my favorite quotes was Arthur Ashe, a famous tennis player. He said, preparation. In life, whatever we do, you got to prepare maybe a little bit better than the other guy. Not hard work so much, but preparation, because preparation in college coaching is your ball plays and your defensive schemes.
Right.
Coaches, we all are not the same. So preparation it beats hard work. You can stay out there 3 hours and come back and say, man, we were working hard. Well, what kind of ball plays you got? Oh, not worth a dang, but we're working hard. So
we've got them down.
Yeah, the middle part. Gosh, the middle part of preparation is just as important as the physical,
Absolutely.
And they're both extremely important.
They are.
So that's the winners are still going to be those guys.
Yep, absolutely, Coach. All right, we'll let him go, and we'll be back with Robbie Andrew after we take this break. You are watching or listening to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law.
And also want to say Meldon Law is sponsoring an event tomorrow night.
They are, yes.
At the stadium, honoring high school athletes that have done very well.
I am going to that.
I'm going to that also, and hopefully I have a chance to say a few words to those high school athletes. And first thing I might say, pick a school that you can stay at and graduate from. That'll carry you the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Instead of hopping around. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that event.
I am.
And appreciate Jeffrey Meldon and his law firm sponsoring that.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being over there as well. We'll be back with more on another Dooley Noted podcast.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley's Dome Studios. No, it's the Steve Spurrier Dome Studios. This is his dome. We appreciate him, and we will now bring on our great friend Robbie Andrew. You get Robbie twice in 1 week. That's a lot. I don't know.
That's too much.
Oversaturation, I think.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to ask how your weekend was, but I already know the answer to that. But we went out last night and had a good time and with our wives and enjoyed each other's company, as we always do. But that was fun. And we were on the radio, too.
You encountered something very different last night, though, Pat.
What?
The three Karens.
Oh, the three Karens did get me, yeah.
Yeah.
They're rough.
You got it from all sides.
That's okay, though. I can live with it. So here's the question. Should I get my hair cut, do you think? Or should I just continue to grow it out and be one of those guys that people go, ooh, look at that guy?
Well, I think you should get them all cut, Pat, to be honest with you.
Not individually?
No, that's up to you. You ought to you ought to do it if you want to.
I don't know. Just kind of in a.
It's not like you have to go to an office or anything anymore.
No, I don't. My goal is to spend an entire year wearing nothing but shorts. We'll see if I can do it. Right now, I'm on track to do it.
I think I've done it so far too.
All right, let's play Yes, Nowhere. Maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Of course, great sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational, and of course, sponsors also of this Zoom line. We appreciate them so much. Of course, you go to Big Mills Cheesesteak, get free fries with your order. In fact, I talked to somebody the other day that did that. They went there and they said, "Hey, I mentioned your podcast. I got free fries. Yay!"
Oh, that's nice. So it really works.
It does work. Yes.
Cool, man.
Street dining done the right way. Number one, Robbie, you are okay with the Vikings schedule, even though there's a tough stretch in there that's going to be really hard for me. You're okay with it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it, Pat. I'll say yes on that one. NFL, you're going to have tough games every week, so it doesn't. I'm fine with that.
Sometimes
we don't
I
have
look
a quarterback.
Sometimes I look at the way
it would be better if we had a quarterback, but we don't.
Yeah, I think that people kind of look at a schedule and they evaluate it, and I'm like, how do you know how good that team's going to be this year? The NFL teams flop; they go backwards, forwards. You never know.
You have a better idea in college, Pat, as opposed to the NFL. You never know with the NFL.
All right, number two on Yes, Nowhere, maybe Robbie. They announced game times for several of the Florida games this week. Now that we're out of the business, you don't care what time the game's played.
Absolutely not, Pat. I'm yes, I don't care. I mean, I think it's great at any time. I'll be in front of the TV or at the game, whatever time they call the kickoff time for. So it doesn't matter to me. It was different when we were writing under deadline. It was a lot different.
It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. How the guy, the red hat guy that I used to hate so much, now I don't have any feelings towards him. I mean,
because those long delays.
With the clock that would be ticking down and be going, start the game. It's 8:00 at night. But anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
we don't have to worry about that anymore.
All right, finally, number 3, yes, nowhere, maybe. The Knicks are in. They're in the conference finals.
Maybe, Pat. I mean, they're probably gonna lose at Indy. I guess it's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So if they can come home and win that game, they're gonna make it to the final against, I guess, Boston, right? So
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna say maybe.
Yeah,
Good
I
chance.
mean, I think getting that win the other night, winning that game, of course they won easily, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do. Again, both these teams have a lot of guys that really aren't used to this, so we'll see how they play down the stretch.
Yeah,
All
the key, Pat, is that the Knicks seem to really play with a lot of energy at home and play with a lot of confidence. So if they have a Game 7 at home at the Garden, I think that's definitely in their favor. And, they're depleted a little bit with injuries, but the guys that are playing are getting it done. They've been fun to watch.
You can't run Willis Reed out there again, no.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah, don't let that happen. He probably walks about the same way he did in that game.
Yeah, he might walk a little better now.
That's right. All right, Robbie, thanks for being on.
Okay, Pat, I'll see you. Have a good weekend.
All right, always good to talk to Robbie. Unfortunately, Robbie and I, it was fortunate. We had a good time last night. We went out last night with our wives who, again, I still think this, when I tell my wife, I love you more today than yesterday, and I start singing her the song by Spiral Staircase, if you didn't know the group, I love you more. You would think she would like that. She didn't seem to like it. She didn't seem to like it, but Robbie and I, I don't know. We may have had too many. It happens. Let us get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the Week. And I'm giving it to a couple of golfers. Not gophers. Golfers, you idiot! Golfers who helped Florida we talked about it earlier, helped Florida get to that third-place finish in the regional. Now they're heading to the finals of the NCAA tournament. Parker Bell shot 4 under. Well done, young man. And Jack Turner with a 1 under. So those two guys carried Florida. They got them. You need somebody to play good. You need somebody to play pretty good, and you need everybody else not to play badly. That's how you advance in these things. Now, Vanderbilt shot lights out. I can't remember what they shot. It was like 27 under. I think Florida was 4 or 5. But Florida got in by like 12 shots. I mean, the regional was set up pretty good for Florida. We'll see if they can do it, what they can do going forward. Ian Gilligan's got to play a little better. But anyway, the point is not to deride people. We're not derading anybody here. We're not supposed to deride people. It is to celebrate the Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the Week, Parker Bell and Jack Turner from the University of Florida, who were both under par in the NCAA regionals. So let's see what they can do, man. I'm fired up. I can't wait to watch it, some of it on the Golf Channel. Let us move to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. And I will say, Lee, you should get your book today and your Leonardo's $25 gift card. I mailed it yesterday. He threatened me. I'm just kidding. He said he was going to call the tailgate and complain if I didn't send it, but believe me, hey, at least we would have gotten a caller. We haven't had too many lately because football's not being played. But let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick. And again, thanks so much to both Adam and to Kyle for amazing stuff they did out of our golf tournament last weekend. Our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks is Saturday's game, Florida and Georgia. It's at Georgia. It's Jack Caglione's possible last appearance pitching for the Gators ever in his life. So it's going to be an emotional day, I think, for everybody. But that is it. The Saturday game. Now, don't tell me, I picked Georgia to win Friday. Yeah, that's a ticket. Yeah, Morgan Fairchild is my wife. Saturday, Florida, Georgia. Look, anytime we have Florida, Georgia in the betting pool, it's good. Okay, and just send your picks to patrickdooley54@gmail.com, and we will register you for the contest. So we've enjoyed doing it, and I do need to go see Kyle and get some more gift certificates. I think I have one left. So maybe not tomorrow, but maybe soon. Soon and for the rest of my life. All right, that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick. Let us get to this, that, and the other, brought to you by Ironwood, brought to you by... I told somebody the other day, I said, man, the best time to play Ironwood is the week after the Dooley, because that course, they get it in the best shape it can possibly be. I mean, they're importing sand from Persia and stuff to make it the best it can be. And I'm going to go out there probably Friday and play. Ironwood, we're brought to you obviously by Shakow Insurance. Appreciate them. And by Ballyhoo Grill, who provided the wings for our Friday night party. And they were very good. I can tell you that. I didn't get many. And here's the thing. When you're running something like this, you don't get to eat a lot. I did make sure that I got a couple of wings and a couple of Nopal flash fried ribs. Were unbelievable. Appreciate them. And, of course, I never even got to the Leonardo's pizza. Everybody was eating it up. And then I did have a little bit of a barbecue on. I know everybody's worried about my consumption of food. All right, all right, let's get to this, that, and the other. And this was, I'll never forget this day. I'm out in Colorado, believe it or not, for the the Olympic Festival. I'm out there for like a week. It's where Karen says she fell in love with me, and I'm grateful for that. I don't know why, but she did. But while I'm out there, I say, hey, let me go see this guy Florida signed from Kentucky. And I go see this guy, Brad Wilkerson. We have a great interview afterwards. I said, man, this guy's really good. Obviously, you know what happened. 3 years at Florida, just unbelievable stuff. 1 year he led him in hitting. He batted over 400. He goes, I need more power. And he set the home run record. And he was also the closer. And he was in a starter. And so I have always proclaimed him the greatest Gator baseball player ever. That is that Langford came along. And I've never seen anybody quite like Langford. A guy that had speed that you didn't even know was there until he needed it. A guy who hit all the big clutch hits, who hit that homer in the College World Series that I almost started crying. It was so impressive. I'm just telling you, I started to doubt who is the greatest player, and I wanted to get into arguments about it because I wanted to defend Wilkerson, but also I wanted to hear what the arguments were for Langford. But I was kind of in between. So now the other, and that is that I'll take Kaggs. I mean, what he has done this year, a 30-game hitting streak for a power hitter is pretty impressive. Now, I know a lot of them have left the yard, but he hits the ball so hard that it's like nothing we've ever seen, and then battles on the mound. Plays a great first base. He's the best player I've seen. Look, I probably would go Kaggs, Wilkie, and then Langford, because the other two pitched. And I think if you play both ways, I think it means something. It should add to your value. And I don't look at ERA. I look at how many games you won, how you battled people. Anyway, that's this, that, and the other on this beautiful Thursday. Let us get to Hesser and Kipke. 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, of course, is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener of this show, you know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm. Check out the reviews and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke, appreciate them so much, and they were out there. I think they had a great time. I've not seen anybody yet that didn't, but you know who didn't? Me, because I worry too much. I got problems. All right, number one on Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. Netflix. It was announced yesterday. Netflix now is going to have 2 Christmas games. And my first reaction was, okay, well, Netflix is getting more into commercials, and which was the whole point of Netflix, is you could watch great movies and not have commercials, but they've changed that. Anyway, but immediately I said, I haven't watched the PGA at all yet today. Let me turn it on. And I turned it on. And again, this is ESPN Plus, but it's still the same thing. If you're streaming, you're going to have to wait and you're going to not be able to turn it off. Then you have to come back, and it takes another 5 minutes. Look, I'm not a fan of this, but you got to do what you got to do, man. It's just like NIL. I was sitting. I think I mentioned this earlier. I was sitting at Ironwood's bar the other day, and these guys were saying how NIL was going to ruin college football and destroy it. And I'm like, it might, but I mean, what are you going to do about it? I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, I feel the same way about streaming services. I don't like it. It's less convenient for me, but I'm gonna watch the games. I mean, I watched that playoff game. That was that on Netflix? No, it wasn't on Netflix. That was on Amazon. Yeah. So I watched that game. Yeah. For a while until the Dolphins were getting killed, I think. But it is just the way it is, and they're gonna have two for the next 2 years. They're gonna have 2 games every Christmas. Are going to be on Netflix. So you can watch Tiger King and then right into the, Chiefs. I think it's Chiefs Ravens. Chiefs Steelers. Okay. So I recommend that as a good holiday watch. All right. That's number 1. Number 2 on Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. Caitlin Clark played her first NBA game and WNBA game. And guess what? It was the most watched game since 2001. Now, that's 2 million people. It's not a ton of people. I mean, it's not like a MASH reunion or MASH finale number, but it's good numbers, and that's what they're hoping for with her and that she's going to bring. And I hope she does too. I'm not going to watch it. I don't have – it's just not – I watched a lot of her games in college, and I loved watching her play. But, okay. I don't even watch the NBA. So it's not for me, but they're not catering for me. Just like with this EA Sports thing that everybody's talking about today. I'm like, I'm not going to go buy a new PlayStation just so I can play this game. And but they're not trying to target me. They're targeting young people. They're targeting people that live in their basement, and there's a lot of them. They're targeting kids. So, but this game that she played, her first game, 20. She had a double-double. Do you know that? 20 points, 10 turnovers, not assists, 10 turnovers, and they doubled her a lot. And they're saying, "You ain't beating us, girlfriend. It ain't happening." And these are, it's a different level of athlete. Now, all that said, I hope everything goes well. I'm a big supporter of women's sports. Doesn't mean I have to watch them though. If I only watch what I want to watch. I'm telling you, you can't make me watch anything. Like soccer, you can't make me watch soccer. There was this story that when they were running on the crawl about some team had not lost for its 50th straight game, and I was like, what even sport is this? It was like Laverhufengengefunking. I don't know what it was. It's like, how do you? I don't know. Anyway. It is what it is. All right, and finally, number 3, I mentioned the schedules earlier, but I did want to come back to it because I wanted to give you the good and bad for all 3 state teams. Miami, 4 of their first 5 games are against non-playoff teams. Get off to a good start, boys. And then the bad, 47 days with 1 home game later in the year. All right. Get off to a good start. That's what you need to do. The Jacksonville Jaguars have 2 games in London in a row, so they don't have to, they can just kind of unpack and everything and enjoy it. And last year, don't forget, they went 2-0 in those 2 games. The bad news is that they are playing against 3 of their last 4 are against playoff teams, which is not good because you figure that race will probably be pretty darn close. The Tampa Bay Bucks, the good news, they have 2 home games to close against divisional opponents. And again, I'm totally stealing this from a guy at CBS Sports. But I'm telling you, he I could have looked it up myself, but 2 games at home again to close the season. The bad news is of their last 4 weeks, 3 games against the Ravens, Chiefs, and 49ers. Tanks for nothing. So that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get to our swamp games of the weekend, and there's a lot to be watching this weekend. Let's start with the basketball Friday, New York at Indiana, 8:30 on ESPN. That'll be a great game to watch. Saturday, Oklahoma City at Dallas. Dallas up 3-2 in that one. That is at 8 o'clock. Sunday, there'll be a game 2 if necessary. There's a lot of I think there's 2 if necessary games Sunday, so no point giving you. Baseball, all the games are on the Plus. They're not on regular TV. They start at 6, 6, and 2, Florida against Georgia. I got the Plus, but then I got stuck on that TV, and I got to stay on that TV, but that's why you have a second TV. Softball, Florida Gulf Coast is how they open the series. The regional, they play them at noon on the SEC network. So get up early and get your post toasties in you and get going. The PGA, if you're looking for that, 12 to 7 on Friday on ESPN, and then they move over to CBS, 1 to 7 both Saturday and Sunday. I can't wait for this weekend. I am looking forward to it. I'm going to try not to be too decadent. I promise not to get the wings at Ballyhoo, which I love so much, but I promise not to get them and pork out on them, but I may. All right, that's going to do it for another Dooley Noted podcast. We'll be back Monday. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. Thanks to Zach, as always. I will see you later after I am deep, I am way back, I am out of here.